you, Umar. So what's the big news these days, Umar?
Racial discrimination.
Racial discrimination, right? And I gave you a story to work on, the moral of this story. So we are going to share that story quickly, and then we'll go to the moral of the story that's critical, right? And that's related to the issues that we are facing today. And though these issues are not new, so wherever there are people in minority, they always suffer from discrimination and prejudice and xenophobia. So there was a boy, and he was not feeling comfortable wherever he was with his friends. So he probably suffered from bullying and discrimination. Remember all those stories where youth have committed suicide here in Canada as well because of bullying? So he was not comfortable, and he asked his father that what's the value of his life, right? In fact, like, he just wanted to know that is it worth living anymore or not. So instead of answering his question, his father told him that, look, I have this stone, take this stone to the marketplace and sell it. But if anyone approaches you and asks the price, don't say anything, just put up two fingers. So he went to the marketplace and he found a lady there, and she said that, oh, you have a nice stone. I want to put it in my garden. So how much is it for? He didn't say anything. He just raised up two fingers. And she said, $2? Okay, I'll take it. Right? So the boy didn't say anything, and he came back to his father and he said, Father, there's a lady who wants it for $2. So father said that, look, I want you to take this stone to a museum. If anybody was interested and he asked for the price, don't say anything and just put up two fingers, right? So he went to a museum and he met a person there, and he said, wow, this is a rare stone. I would like to put it in my museum. How much would you take for this? He didn't say anything. He just put up two fingers. He said, $200? Okay, I'll give you $200. So the boy came home running. Father, a man wants to buy this rock for $200. The father then said, okay, forget about that, man. Take this stone. I want you to take this stone to the precious stone store. Show this rock to the owner and don't say a word. So the boy took the stone to the precious stone store, and the owner said, wow, this is a very rare stone. Where did you get this from? I would like to buy this. Are you interested in selling it? How much is it for? And he didn't say anything. He just put up two fingers. So the person said, wow, I'll take it for $200,000. The boy, not knowing what to say, went home to his father. Father, a man wants to buy this rock for $200,000. The father then said, son, do you know the value of your life now? You see, it doesn't matter where you come from, where you were born, and the color of your skin, or how much money you were born into. It matters where you decide to place yourself, the people you surround yourself with, and how you choose to carry yourself. So this story is shared in most of those circles where they have those motivational, inspirational stories, right? But they end up this story with this conclusion that we need to choose the people we surround ourselves with, and that will make all the difference in our lives. But the question is that what kind of people that we need to surround ourselves with, so there's no guidance for that. And then what kind of difference do we actually want in our lives, right? So these are the two important questions which all those inspirational speakers or those inspirational guides, they don't provide that guidance, but that guidance is in the Quran, right? So I'll quickly share a verse from the Quran, which is verse 28 of chapter 18. واصبر نفسك مع الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه. واصبر نفسك مع الذين, to keep ourselves patient by being with those يدعون ربهم, who call upon their Creator بالغداة والعشي, in the morning and the evening, يريدون وجهه, seeking His pleasure. And then the Quran says, ولا تعد عيناك عنهم, and let not your eyes pass beyond them. تريد زينة الحياة الدنيا, desiring adornments of the worldly life. Is actually what our Creator is actually saying here, is that if you are in the company of those who remember the Creator, right, then their focus is on unpiety, seeking the pleasure of Allah. They won't look at your skin color. They won't look at your possession. They won't look at your position. They won't look at all those things, which actually lead to those issues of racism and xenophobia and discrimination and injustice. So if you are in the company of those people, so it's a very broad guidance as well, that if we as a humanity, we are looking for different solutions, and we are saying that we need to look into the solutions which would address the systemic barriers and the root causes of all these problems. So one is at the personal level. So if you are staying in the company of those who remember their Lord and they think beyond the skin color and beyond the possession and positions and from where a person belongs and all those things. So they have broad-minded, those who truly believe and those who remember their Lord. So if you go by the Quran, then they are at a different level, right? They are not in the weeds focusing on the skin color of other individuals or from where they belong and all those kinds of things. So this applies both at the individual level and at the universal level, right? So I gave you this assignment that just give me a few points that what's the difference between those who remember their Lord, right, and those who don't remember their Creator. What does actually happens that would describe the mindset of those who remember and worship and those who don't. So remember this graphic, we had the soul and we have the self, right? So those who are more spiritual and those who are centered on their self and the adornments of this life, right? So what are the points that you have now?
So people that believe they have inner peace and they strive to achieve self-actualization.
Good.
So they know that they're spiritual and they worship to discover and address the dual nature, which is the physical and the spiritual. Mm-hmm. And people that don't worship, they have no peace and they strive for desires. They discover develop emotional and behavior problems that suffocate them and people around them.
And that doesn't lead to any satisfaction, right? Okay, good. Then.
And then people that worship, they're liberated, so they invest their lives in serving and worshipping and following what Allah says. And you're liberated because you don't have to follow trends, culture, stuff like that. And then if you don't worship Allah, then you're enslaved to trends and culture and traditions, and you don't have a purpose, so you invest all your life into doing these useless stuff.
So then they are on a hedonic treadmill, right? So they're always looking into new worldly possessions and all those kinds of things. And so the point is this, that you don't have the kind of peace of mind that you require. Then that translates into your frustration, that translates into your depression, and that translates into your behavior, right? So what are the next 2 points?
So if you worship, you have morality. So you have objective moral standards that are divinely set in place. So it's divine objective moral standards that don't change over time. They're set in stone. But if you don't believe, then you have subjective moral standards. So what you think is wrong today, you're going to think is right tomorrow because of trends and social pressure. Mm-hmm. And then if you believe and worship, then it refreshes your faith because the heart is prone to forget. But if you do remembrance and worship, then it refreshes your faith. Mm-hmm. But if you don't worship, then you forget yourselves, and then which causes people to not look beyond race, culture, ethnicity, and they just judge you on your race and stuff.
So even if you believe, but if you don't practice them, you don't remember your Lord the way it's prescribed, right? Then it leads to no peace. It leads to being on the hedonic treadmill all the time, and then have subjective moral standards which change with changing times and changing trends, and then you forget yourself, and then that doesn't lead to the kind of peace that you need, the inner peace that you need to have, and then the kind of liberation and the true contentment, and ultimately that translates into the way you treat people, the way you judge people, right? So here your purpose is to please Allah. Here, your purpose is to gain and achieve as much as of the worldly possessions and things as you can, and for that you are always in competition. You treat people differently. You are always you want to be the winner and seek as much and gain as much as you can, right? That brings the element of competition and hatred, and then the resultant racism and xenophobia, etc. Right? So we good? Thank you so much.